there, and welcome. It's Psychic Cynthia here, and welcome to your Friday forecast for the week ahead. And that will be the week of Monday, December 14th through Sunday, December 20th, 2020. Thanks for tuning in and joining me for this cosmic forecast. I'm so glad you're here. And this is a special week ahead. There are so many shifts in December 2020, actually. So I feel like almost every week this month, it's like an astrologer's gold mine. But this is a special week ahead indeed. And really starting at the beginning of the forecast and setting the tone for the whole rest of the week, and you might say the next few months, is the December 14th new moon solar eclipse. And this is in the sign of Sagittarius. I believe, according to my notes, it's at 23 degrees Sagittarius. And for those of us here in the central time zone, that will be happening, I should say central time zone United States, that will be happening at 10:17 a.m. That's when it's exact, or at least when the new moon's exact, and the eclipse very closely. But it won't be visible here in the United States. So, here it's at 10:17 a.m. If you're in the Eastern U.S. time zone, that's going to be 11:17 a.m. If you're in Pacific, that would be 8:17 a.m. But it doesn't really matter in terms of visibility. We won't be seeing this total solar eclipse here. It still has a influence over us, a power, but the general rule of thumb, according to the ancients, is that if an eclipse is visible, or when it is visible, or when the shadow cast over your region, then it will be more powerful for you. So its influence is a little bit less conscious than it usually would be, a little bit more tempered, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because these solar eclipses can bring about, I don't know if they bring it about, but it seems that in times past that sometimes if you look at the timing of a solar eclipse, especially a total solar eclipse, with the timing of, natural disasters and terrorist activities and things like that, sometimes they can correspond. But it's more likely to create this kind of chaos in places where it is visible, which I don't have that all, in my head right now, but I do believe that it will be more visible in South America for this time, for example. And not that it has to create chaos, but I'm just saying sometimes there is a correspondence. But for those of us in the United States and also in the UK, and that eclipse, if you're in London, that's going to be 4:17 p.m. on Monday, December 14th, again, 2020. So we're having this beautiful total solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And I want you to understand that this is actually part of a larger tapestry that we're having this whole month, and really going back to November 30th with the lunar eclipse in Gemini, which also triggered Sagittarius. And then we're going to have the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction on December 21st. And Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. So there's this whole axis of energy around Jupiter and Sagittarius, and also Mercury, because Mercury is going to be almost making a conjunction to this eclipse. So what does this mean in English? I'm sorry, I'm speaking a lot of astrologies. Forgive me. What it means in terms of your spiritual cosmic shifts is that there's a lot of emphasis right now on transforming your mind and your thinking and your communication and learning. Furthermore, with this eclipse happening in the way that it is this week, it's also still riding the back door hinge, you might say. It's riding the back door of that nice Sun-Mars trine. So there's a lot of energy coming through, momentum. This is a time to take initiative. It's a time to be bold, to be confident, to embark on something new, except for you need to wait just a beat, okay? It might be better to make a plan for something new, and then, especially, you don't want to try to launch anything brand new or to make any major deals right on the day of this eclipse or really close. I would wait at least a week if I were you, because there's somewhat of a destabilizing energy with any eclipse. I mean, it literally feels like that around the times of the eclipses. And if you watch the animals, they go a little bit nutty. And I mean even pets. Watch your pets around this time of the eclipse. They may act a little different than normal. And we're animals too. We forget that we're animals, but humans, we are animals too. We are creatures of nature. So things can be a little nutty around the times of eclipses, especially a total solar eclipse, even if it's not visible in your area. And also with this particular eclipse, we're also on the tail end. It's making a square to Neptune. That was really from last week with the sun squaring Neptune. And so that brings up a lot of emotional energy to be processed. It can also indicate deception as well. And that deception can come from the outside, as in somebody, lying to you, deceiving you, trying to manipulate you, or just really trying to entangle you in their web, as I say it. I have a flower essence for that, if anybody's in that. Yeah, take prairie spiderwort, okay, if you haven't. I digress. But, be careful about getting entangled in the spider's web, okay? That's one caution I would issue with this eclipse for this week ahead. And it might be something for the next few months ahead too. But anyway, right in the week, you might want to make sure that the people you're dealing with are, above board. And then also, it's not just potential for deception from others. It's potential from deception from self. We can deceive ourselves. We can, maybe look at things the way we want to see them rather than how they are. Have you ever done that? Have you ever consciously chosen to put on your rose-colored glasses? Which I love the rose-colored glasses. Actually, I have some here I love rose-colored glasses, literally. But just be aware when you're putting those on. And I like to wear rose-colored glasses. In other words, that's a saying if you're not familiar with it. I like to move through the world seeing the best in everyone that I come into contact with, seeing their higher self, seeing their potential. But what I've learned through the years, and it's been a very difficult lesson, I will tell you, what I've learned is to, yes, let myself believe in others, have faith in them, and the same for myself, have faith in myself, but at the same time, also let myself see things how they are, all of how they are. And people and situations, you want to see all of it, like an old-fashioned clock, with the numbers on the circle, or like an astrology chart, right? It's a wheel. You don't just see one sign or two signs. And, we all just love to look at the beautiful, expansive energies of Jupiter, but not so much we don't like to look at Jupiter or Saturn or Pluto sometimes, right? We don't want to look at the rough edges that people have or the imperfections. I got a fortune cookie recently that might be helpful here, and it was so wise that this doesn't normally happen with fortune cookies, but it said to be mature is to accept imperfections. To be mature is to accept imperfections. So let yourself see the imperfections, actually, not just the perfection, so that when you're going into situations with people, you're more realistic and your expectations are more well-grounded. And it's also true with yourself. See yourself in a way where you're seeing all of it. Yes, look at the beauty and see the beauty and the potential. And then also see the reality that is here now, and even, the ugly parts, so-called. There can be beauty in that too. The deficiencies, the weaknesses, we should all know our strengths and limitations. So that's good advice for this eclipse. And, generally this is ushering in a time of initiative, a time to make the start, take the leap, okay? But remember, just not quite yet. Make plans to take that leap next week, okay? Or even, I would say even a little bit beyond, and I'm not saying this just because it's December and, the New Year's coming up, but maybe, make the major plans to start something new and important in a couple of weeks, okay? That being said, I do want you to understand that this eclipse, it isn't just happening this week. In other words, well, it is, but then the influence can continue on for quite some time. I mean, especially if you have planets around 23 Sagittarius, 23 Gemini, 23 Virgo, 23 Pisces, 23 any sign really. But regardless of where your personal planets are, this is a collective cycle for the next 5.5 to 6 months. And really, most people, even if you're not particularly sensitive, you will feel the energies of the new start during a new moon eclipse. It will set off a cycle for at least the next few months. So I encourage you to set some goals, focus on your abundance, your success, how you want to expand for the next 3 to 6 months. If you can't think that far ahead, just think the next 2 months, okay? On the other hand, while you're doing that, stay real, okay? Stay humble, and remember that there is value in being of service to others. And, you know, the danger, I think, with this eclipse, other than, you know, deception is a possibility, but that's even weaker than this. The strongest danger is going overboard, scattering your energy in too many places at once, and being too self-important, too grandiose, too egotistic. And, you know, all of us humans, we're all prone to this. It's a human condition. And frankly, some of the spiritual people I meet could use a little bit more ego. They haven't developed that personality, that strength, that individuality. So this may not apply to all of you. You know, if you're somebody who hasn't developed that, or you're always putting others before yourself, I think this eclipse will be a very good opportunity for you to learn maybe how to put your own self first, or at least value yourself. Value yourself. So I think valuing the self is important, but that needs to be balanced with valuing others. And, you know, success, we're all, maybe not all, but many of us are thinking about that at this time of the year as we set new resolutions. And many of us want to expand our abundance and our worldly success, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We are in the world after all. But think about balancing that, you know, your own personal desires also with, you know, showing your love and sharing, you know, your heart with others. And as I was preparing for this video, there were a couple of really good quotes that I have little quotes on pieces of paper on my desk, and they're just kind of random, but occasionally I run into them. And I ran into, well, one in particular that I'd like to just leave you with. And this is by Albert Einstein. Allegedly, that's what I heard. And surely you know who Albert Einstein is. If you don't, well, you need to do some research on that, okay? One of the greatest minds of modern times. And he said, try to be a person of value rather than of success. Try to be a person of value rather than success. Because success, I mean, what does that even mean? That's so ephemeral and temporal. You know, it changes and it can be swept away in a moment, as we've learned in 2020. But if you're a person of value, if you provide something to other people or other creatures or the planet that brings real value, then I feel like you really are successful in the higher sense of the word. And another quote that I had, and I'll leave you with this too, by somebody not maybe quite as famous, but I think this was off of LinkedIn, and I saw this some months ago, by a person named Oleg Vishnepolsky. I don't know if I'm saying that's right, but forgive me, Oleg, if I'm not. It might be Olay, actually. But this person had written, success is not about making money. It is about making positive difference in people's lives. Think about that. Success is not about making money only. It's about making a positive difference in other people's lives. So as you're planning for your goals and the initiative you will take as this eclipse is activating, you know, new ideas for you, think about long-term how you can be of value to others and make a positive difference in your lives. Don't just think about what you want to do. Think about what others value that you can do. And remember, as you're forging ahead, it would be best to wait a week or so, just because the energies are a little unstable. As my friend Ross Long said, who's also an astrologer, he likes to say, with the eclipses, things can wink in and wink out suddenly. So, don't go chasing any crazy, unexpected opportunities just yet, okay? Give it a beat to figure out if it's still going to be here next week, at least. All right. Well, I hope you found this forecast helpful, and if you're not already a subscriber to my Psychic Cynthia YouTube channel, please do. Please click that subscribe button and get your notifications and help this channel grow. And I'm wishing you all such great blessings and a wonderful rebirth, great co-creation and manifestation in the month ahead and the year ahead. Until next time, bright blessings.